And speaking of the media and the stuff that they don't cover, you see what I did there? This is a great segment that we're about to do. So it's fascinating. Now, the Epstein connections to the financial world have long been known. Here in the United States, the latest time that we saw an actual financial regulator move on somebody with regards to their ties to Epstein was with Deutsche Bank a couple of years ago in the Department of Financial Services in the state of New York, who revealed all sorts of different ways that Deutsche Bank was using Epstein to, solicit clients, how they didn't report him to the FBI, even though his handlers would be like, hey, how much cash can we take out without alerting the feds? Just so you guys know, by asking that question, they're supposed to alert the feds. And he would take out hundreds of thousands of dollars in cash for, quote, tipping purposes. They found wire transfers. Yeah, very relatable. Found wire transfers, which were almost assuredly used for human trafficking purposes in Eastern Europe, payoffs to various types of people, all sorts of illegal activity, which the bank knew of, which they had all at the very highest levels, were aware of, and they didn't cut off their business with Epstein because, quote, because of the knowledge that he was helping them solicit other high net worth individuals, okay? So this was all admitted to, and they were fined by the New York State. Well, different financial regulators across the pond in the United Kingdom have been doing a very interesting investigation, and their findings have led to a bombshell in the financial community. Let's put this up there on the screen. So, Barclays CEO, Barclays, one of the largest banks in the world, Chief Executive Jess Staley is now leaving the bank after financial regulators had a confidential review of the bank's relationship with convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. Now, unfortunately, because of British law and all sorts of stuff, we don't really know what exactly was reported in the findings. It's unpublished as of now. And by the way, any Brits, if you're listening and you're a journalist, it would be great if you get your hands on that report for all of us over here. Now, what's interesting is that it was so bad that even though Mr. Staley, Jess Staley, disputed the findings of the report, the bank itself was like, you gotta go, man, in terms of what they found here. So clearly, there was something which is very important. And really what it is that Staley has long said that their relationship with Epstein and the bank, which was actually pre-existing prior to him becoming CEO, already a red flag, was one in which that he would help them find clients. So again, this is the same thing. He said that his relationship with Epstein, quote, tapered off significantly back in 2013, that he had not even seen him since he had become the CEO in 2015. He's like, I regret it, of course, I regret it. But really what they point to is that what he did while he was working in the finance industry is he leveraged his relationship with Epstein in order to get more clients for the bank. So this is the second titan of Wall Street in order to be brought down by this. And look, how many more have to fall? Leon Black, who is one of the largest private equity guys on all of Wall Street, he's worth like $9 billion, had to step down from Apollo Management Group because of his relationship with Epstein. And because it came out from the New York Times that he had paid Epstein up to, quote, $150 million in exchange for tax advice. Once again, when you're worth $9 billion, you can literally go to anyone at the highest levels of the tax industry to help you dodge your taxes. Why does this guy who knows nothing about taxes need $150 million in order to advise you? It's the same story. And in this particular case, it seems to be that all of the people who were at the very top and who were working specifically in the industry of managing the money of billionaires, of managing deal flow, of managing people's money and high net worth asset individuals, is that they knew that Epstein was a conduit to those people, which is, what do we talk about here on the show all the time? Follow the money. You think these people are fools? You think that they're gonna have a relationship with somebody if they're not making them hundreds of millions of dollars in fees, and they're not gonna overlook obvious financial irregularities and bad conduct beyond personal conduct, which was all public record, and all of that because they couldn't make and become ludicrously wealthy? Yeah. This is just another, clue in exactly where things, what the relationship was between Epstein and these people at the banks. Yeah. And once again, Krystal, we have no idea what's inside this report, but I would really love to know. Bad enough to make the CEO of one of the biggest banks in the world resign.
It's not an accident that Epstein, like all of these famous or wealthy people, elites, that so many of them have an Epstein connection.
Yes.
Because this was his strategy to continue his crimes. To be protected by, I'm actually going to talk about Katie Couric's memoir. She had an Epstein dinner. Why? Because he was cultivating media personalities so that he would get favorable coverage. You know, having all these ties to the financial industry, having all these ties to people like Bill Gates. I mean, you go down the list and there's like an Epstein picture for every rich, famous, wealthy individual. And it's because this was his strategy to try to cocoon himself in this sphere of elite protection, and it worked for a really long time. With regards to this particular individual, if you read between the lines in this report from Reuters, what they seem to suggest is that Staley had told people that his relationship with Epstein had tapered off significantly after he left JP Morgan in 2013, and that he hadn't even seen Epstein since taking over as CEO of Barclays in 2015. It would appear that that was a lie, and that may very well be why this report is so damning to him, because he seemingly covered up, according to some other reporting, additional meetings, ties, interactions with Epstein after the point at which he said he had nothing to do with him. And that timing matters because, you know, I mean, what year was it that he actually was convicted for sex crimes and had the plea deal down in Florida?
Back in 2005, 2006.
Right. So you would think that after that, everyone would be like, all right, we see what's going on here and we don't want to have anything to do with you. But the further you can push your relationship into the past, the more that you feel like maybe people will excuse it because you didn't realize how bad things were. But the New York Times reported in 2019 that Epstein had referred dozens of wealthy clients to Staley, 2019 being a long time after 2013 when he said the relationship had, quote, tapered off. They also reported Staley visited Epstein in prison when he was serving a sentence. That was between 2008 and 2009 for soliciting prostitution from a minor. So he also can't say, like, I had no idea anything was wrong with this guy. He literally visited him in prison. And Bloomberg reported he visited Epstein's private island in 2015, also after the time that he said his relationship had, quote, tapered off.
Amazing.
So it looks like this guy got caught in a whole bushel of lies about the nature of his relationship. And I mean, we see this with Bill Gates as well, who's like, oh, I had like a handful of dinners with him. And yeah, barely knew the guy. Where meanwhile, it's like, no, this was his boy. He was hanging out with him. He was going to him for marriage advice.
Going to marriage advice. Flying across the world to try and get a Nobel Peace Prize, brokering deals. I mean, endless in terms of their connections there. It's the same thing here, which is, you know, those connections that you're pointing to on the island, visiting somebody in prison. These people had full knowledge of what was up. They leveraged it in order to take a lot of money from other high net worth individuals. And the ultimate question is, what did he have on them? And vice versa, that this was all just some big understanding where everybody's making a whole lot of money. Still no answers to that questions. I'd love for, by the way, while the Brits are paying attention, one of your princes also needs to get his ass over here to the United States in order to stand civil trial in the state of New York.
Hey guys, thanks so much for watching.
That's right. Just as a reminder, you can become a premium subscriber today. Watch the full show completely uncut, our reactions to each other's monologues. You get to listen to it. You get to ask us questions, all that good stuff. Link is right there in the description or at breakingpoints.com.
Best of all, great way to say screw you to the mainstream media.